Well, the city of North Myrtle Beach hopes that all the work out here will help them attract some major softball and baseball tournaments. As you can see, the old fields are getting a major overhaul, and that's because the city already has some major plans on how these fields will be used.
We're excited about it, yes. We're looking forward to it.
Mike Robertson with Damon's Restaurant in North Myrtle Beach is so excited because of the new softball fields in the works at nearby Central Park. The city is replacing 2 old fields with ones that will be up to collegiate standards. There are already plans to host at least 28 and possibly up to 40 Division III teams in a tournament in the spring.
We are very interested in sports tourism. This sort of opens the door to that type of thing.
The city hopes the fields will also attract other tournaments.
The average team probably has what? 15 girls on a team? Maybe grandma and grandpa, parents come down to watch. The impact of those people and those 40 teams are going to be astronomical in North Myrtle Beach.
The Chamber of Commerce president says North Myrtle Beach is so attractive for sporting events because it has a lot to offer as a vacation destination too. He admits city leaders have thought about a possible NAACP boycott of college tournaments, but he points out they're not planning high-profile championship events.
So these are independent decisions being made by colleges and universities that are in particular divisions, and so you don't have to really concern yourself with that.
He says North Myrtle Beach still isn't big enough to host major national or regional championships, but bringing in some regional play is something the city certainly wants to do more of, especially during the spring and fall.
We're planning for a long, hard winter, so this will be a great makeup come spring.
And the fields here at Central Park have always been open for public use. Here if the plans for some major tournaments will affect the public access. For now, reporting at Central Park in North Myrtle Beach near the Possum Trot Golf Club, I'm Brandon Herring, WMBF News.
And John Bullard and Matt Gibbons are here of North Myrtle Beach. And gentlemen, as we saw in Brandon's story, it's a lot of dirt right now, but there's a ton of renovations going on. And I want to talk with Myrtle Beach Mayor John Rhodes as well as Dave McPherson too. If you're watching at home and you're thinking, all right, sports tourism, we get the idea of increasing the tax base. Maybe you don't. Maybe I don't. Let's talk about the benefits. The obvious benefits are, look, we've got a field, we've got a complex that anybody can use, not just these tourists that are coming in the off season. Is that accurate?
That is very accurate. And of course, it also helps with our local residents. You know, it enhances the opportunity for them with the ball fields as well. But the economic impact is huge when we bring these teams in. We commissioned Coastal Carolina to do a feasibility study for the economic impact of just a new facility. And it was in roughly $10 million of direct economic impact per year. And of that, then there will be $225,000 going directly into the city's coffers through the A-tax. So it's a huge benefit to the city. And as the mayor mentioned earlier, and Dave also, once we get the kids and the families here and we give them a wonderful experience, they will come back. So we're perpetuating our tourism through sports tourism.
Right.
So,
and of course, for people who have jobs in the service industry, not only keeping dollars in their pocket, but much more when we talk about, okay, bringing tourists in who are going to spend money. It means more than just beds filled, right?
Well, Michael, you know, I know as you mentioned the residents looking and saying, well, you're spending this money on sports facilities. Let me explain something to you. Here's the way Myrtle Beach works. Here's the way the Grand Strand works in North Myrtle Beach. If it wasn't for the tourists, then you wouldn't have moved here. Because you definitely were not riding down 995 and saw a sign that says Myrtle Beach, hey, let's move there.
Right.
You came, you visited, you enjoyed it, you liked what was here, and you decided this is a place that you'd like to come back and live, maybe retire.
Right.
Okay? So you were a tourist to begin with. 99.9% chance. The way Myrtle Beach grew was this. First there was the beach that was promoted. Okay, after the beach, then came golf. Golf courses went up everywhere. That was promoted. Then came the shopping. And Waccamaw Outlet Park was the top deal in the 70s as to the place to come and do the shopping. Now you got the Tanger outlets and all around. And then came the conventioneers when the convention center was expanded to be able to handle flat shows. And now sports tourism has come. It is up to us as leaders of this community to stay on top of the trends that's going to keep us at this level and not at this level. Because at this level, we'll be able to produce more tax revenue for our community to be able to provide the amenities that the new people that have moved in are wanting to have.
Right.
And we will be able to do this without raising our tax base. Because in the city you came from, when you had the Performing Arts Center, when you had the sports arena, when you had the nice parks, you know how you paid for it? Your taxes were much higher than they are here.
Sure.
So, you know, all this stuff about you want this but don't raise the taxes, somewhere the money's got to come in order to do it, or we can't give it to you. And with this, we're providing the opportunity for growth, and that's what it's all about.
And I suppose anybody would agree, safe to say, that why not have the tourists pay for that tax as opposed to us if we're going to get some of these fields and complexes out there?
Well, let's say I know the big argument about the 1% tax is probably where you're hitting at, and that was nobody's idea to do that except mine. As I said during the election, and I say it now, don't blame my city council, blame me. But when you blame me, understand what the benefits have been this year because of that 1% tax, because we were the only place in America that had the growth in tourism.
Right.
And other resort communities are envious of what we have and what we're doing, including Charleston and Hilton Head. They're now trying to get the 1% tax passed.
The advertising is key.
It is absolutely the key, and we're going to go forward with it. And the money that our residents save, our owner-occupied residents, with a 90% tax credit because of that, they're very satisfied.
And despite any tax, as you mentioned, which that tax, of course, partly goes into funding advertising in different markets to recruit people to North Myrtle Beach, to the Grand Strand. As far as the money goes and the taxes, Myrtle Beach, by many standards, still a huge bargain. And I bet, Dave, if you've talked to some of these golfers that have flown in from across the country, in addition to what we offer, I would imagine they're talking. It is still a pretty sweet bargain.
Oh, absolutely. And I think on the event side, most of the events that you see, whether they're golf related or not, they're able to fit into times of the year that are slower from what we would already get from regular vacationers. The World Amateur that we run in the last week of August before Labor Day, typically a slower period of time. That one event alone with 3,000 golfers, you're looking at 30,000 rounds of golf, 21,000 room nights, $10 million economic impact for the area during a time that maybe that wasn't already there. So the events play a good role to fill that and generate additional tax dollars at times when maybe the regular vacationer isn't providing it to us. So
that's huge, for sure.
You know, I want to tell you something real quick. A real good friend of mine runs softball tournaments, and he started a softball tournament about 90 days ago. A brand new tournament. It was a seniors softball tournament. And his first tournament, he had over 70 teams participating in it, coming from all around the South and the Northeast. This is how fast it grows.
It's pretty exciting. And of course, the volleyball tournament.
And who has nothing to do except enjoy sports activities and recreation facilities? Ask the senior citizens. So now we're tapping more into that market in the shoulder months. We're not here worried about doing things in June, July, and August. We want to build September, October, November, March, April, May.
Right. And that's an interesting perspective. As far as seniors go, there are a lot of retirees, of course, along the Grand Strand. It's a great place to retire. Do you look at it in the study? Do you look at the demographic of the ages that might use this new sports complex in North Myrtle Beach?
We have definitely identified that as a target market. And we know we have the best destination in the world, we think. And we know if we can get them here as a tourist, as a participant in one of the tournaments, they will come back. And that's our target. And as the mayor said, we want to do it in the shoulder months. The summers are quite full, but with the spring training, the folks will be here in February and March when the other tourists really are not here. So we're looking at expanding that niche to get them here and give them a great experience because we know they will come back.
And Matt, again, as far as organizing these events, if you build it, they will come. Is that kind of the thinking? Once it's up, it could be a number of events.
Well, it could be, and I think it's important to understand that this is sports tourism is already an established market throughout South Carolina and other parts of the Southeast, and we're fortunate to live in an area that is going to draw people here that kind of gives us an advantage over a lot of other places. So it's not really that we're out rolling the dice hoping that they'll come. They're already coming to other places throughout the state. So I think I think that's an important part of how fortunate we are on the Grand Strand to have an area that's going to bring people in and give us that advantage over some of the other places.
Excellent. We're talking sports tourism and the impact on our economy. A lot more with folks from North Myrtle Beach, and Myrtle Beach Golf Holiday when we come back.